Okay, I kind of like that music. It came with the podcast console, so yeah, it's not too
It's
bad.
good. I could groove to that a little bit.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of the 360 podcast series. My name is Ed Masterson. Always honored to be hosting these episodes. We always have great guests. I'll introduce our two guests for today in just a moment. Before I do that, though, I want to tell you about our sponsor, who you can probably guess who it is. It's 360 Executive Suites. We've got this great neon piece up here on the wall. Mr. Fred Arnold. Fred's got 4 state-of-the-art office complexes here in Santa Clarita. If you're looking for a business home away from home, it's a great place to get started. It's a great place to continue making relationships and building whatever business you're in. Great atmosphere, great collaboration at all 4 of the properties between the tenants that have space there. So come check that out if you're in the market for office space. Also here at this location, this is the mothership of all 4 locations. This is at 25101 The Old Road, up on the 2nd floor of this building. Fred has his new home center. All the information you would like to get with no pressure on you. You don't have to interact with anybody in person. It's an interactive space up here with all kinds of cool information about home stuff, not only in Santa Clarita, but in the region here. So if that's something that's on your mind to look for a new home, and also these ladies here today will be covering some of that stuff as well. But if you want to come up and drop in and check out the new home center, it's a really nice place as well. So today, my guests are 2 amazing ladies here in the community, Raquel Marchant and also Sarah Nisenoff of Real Estate Mamas, and also, the other part of it, the Good Day Home Team. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're excited to be here.
We are excited too. The studio audience is also excited.
Yay!
They know what a big deal both of you are here in Santa Clarita.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Thank you for being here again. And Raquel, you and I did one of these a few months ago, and we talked about a lot of things in the real estate space. And when I say real estate space, it's not limited to what my traditional thought about that was when we spoke the last time, which is people buying a home or a commercial property, people selling a home or a commercial property. Your company and all the people you've got working on your team, in addition to that, also offer a whole bunch of other things to help people in those kind of transactions. So let me turn it over to you ladies and just tell us about what the Good Day Home Team, aka Real Estate Mamas, all of the nuances and the things you offer, services. Let's start if someone was selling a home or a commercial property.
Okay. So yes, we offer our professional guidance for someone to list a home, market a home, and negotiate a home. Same with commercial. We can evaluate it, get you an idea of what you can get depending on the rents coming in or if it's vacant, so on and so forth. So value-wise, we can share that with you, tell you how to get the most out of it, what you would need to do that. That's pretty standard, I'd say, for most agents, brokers.
So let me give an example then. If I was going to sell a home, your group would be able to come out, take a look at it and tell me, hey, if you want to put your home's best foot forward in terms of selling it or make it ready for its close-up, you might want to do X, Y, and Z things to improve the value of the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So when we do, a listing appointment or meeting with clients and going to their home, we walk the home and then we go over with them kind of what their goals are. Do they just want to do a quick sale? Do they want to sell to somebody that's going to come in and flip it or fix it up? And, we can help them obviously find somebody who would do that, or we prefer to find ways for them to make more money, keep their equity. So yeah, we would definitely walk the property with them, go over upgrades and just different things that they can do to the home to get more for their money.
So in that situation, sorry, got a frog in my throat. In that situation, let's say you walk my home with me and you say, look, right now in its current condition, it's worth $700,000 right now. But if you did these suggestions, I'm asking if this is how the process goes, maybe we get it up to 760,000, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So we would show up typically, like the way I like to do it is with 3 different net sheets. So we find out what you owe. And then let's say at that 700 price, like I'll gauge what most of the homes have gone for, get an idea of when you moved in, and I'll ask the question before we come, have you done any upgrades? If they say no, then I know probably going to be the bottom side of the 3 net sheets. I would do like a 7, a 725, a 750. As the ranges go up, there's a little bit more room in there.
Okay.
But then I show them, here's what you're going to make. Like, don't think about the price. What are you going to net from the sale? What's it going to cost you? Because obviously There's other things to take into consideration. Are they paying capital gains? Like, where should they be? Will it make a difference if they sell at 7 or 725? There's so many pieces to it, but we kind of give that to them and say, sell like this, you'll get this. Sell like this, you'll get this. And if you sell like this, where we could even input money, because we will pay for upgrades for them if we get the money back, plus our time and effort convenience. So they have options of how they want to do it.
That was going to be my next question. If you have a suggestion, several suggestions of how to improve the pricing of the home, and if the people themselves don't have the money to do those improvements and upgrades, talk more about that, if you would, in terms of, is that a matter of you're just pros in the business? So, if we do these upgrades, it's going to raise it up to here, and then we get our investment back for having put the money up front, and you also still get theoretically maybe no less as the owner of the home than you would have got if you didn't do that. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So we would go in and we would show you, like, we'll use the hypothetical at the 700. Let's say you owe 200 on it, and by after the time, all fees, you're probably walking with, I don't know, 525.
Okay.
That's at as is sale with commissions, everything figured in. We figure in everything. In fact, we have a little pad in there too, just to make sure you know what you're walking with, because it probably affects most people,
Okay.
not the 1%ers. But then we show them, like, if we put this much money into the house, which we'll use an average, we usually average somewhere between like 30 and 35,000. We redo the kitchen, the bathroom, the floors, paint, might do fixtures, things like that. It just depends on what needs to happen. Then we'll show them, look, we could get 825 if we do those things. Well, their equity that they were going to walk away with, that 525, we don't touch that. But that difference in that extra $100,000, we would split that equity.
Okay.
So that way they're not paying me for my money. I'll get that back at closing for what I put in. And then they'll give me half of the rest of that
Okay.
equity. And most people, especially our older clients, are more than thrilled to do that, because they're retiring and they're taking that extra money, buying a car, paying for the move. Like, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but to someone, anywhere from 30 to 50 grand is
Sure.
right? Most people, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like somebody who is retired and on a fixed income, us coming in and being able to get them an extra $50,000
Yeah.
is a huge deal.
100 for sure. It's 100% a big deal. I
Oh
agree
yeah.
with you.
And with no money out of their pocket. So it's not like their money's tied up in the home waiting for it to sell. We've already done that for them.
Yeah.
Right. And you have go-to people in a variety of different
absolutely.
capacities. If you say landscaping needs a little bit of work, painting, carpet, whatever, you've got people that you work with all the time to do that.
That's what I was going to say. Like, we had somebody, we just went through this and I ran over just to see, like, what would we need to do to get them. They really want to sell for like 850 or more. Well, the house is a 750 house right now just because of the market. And I'm like, we need to put 30 in. And they're like, okay, we'll do it ourselves. I guarantee you they won't be able to do it for 30,000, which is terrible to say.
Right.
But they don't have the contacts. Like, our people do work for us all the time. So we get better pricing and we know where all the deals are: flooring, baseboards, fixtures, all those things. So it does help. It's saving them that output plus the extra expense that someone would charge them, because you don't know what you're dealing with. Like, unless you do it all day, you don't know what the price should be.
Well, yeah, and then the stress of having to figure it out for yourself, having to find where to get, the materials to,
Right.
have trustworthy people come into your home and do it and not take advantage of you, and not get caught up in a long process.
But also, I feel like since COVID, nobody wants to adult. It's really changed the way things were for us. The whole industry switched then, but I noticed that people just, as much as you will take off their plate, they will give it up. Here you go. We can't handle it.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. I mean, I have a couple of friends, and they're really handy contractor guys, and they would probably do all their own stuff themselves, but they are like 1% of the population, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, and to your point, you've got people you're working with all the time. You get preferred pricing. They know that you're sending them a steady supply of work coming to them, to all the different craftspeople that you work with, or landscapers. And for me, if I'm the homeowner in that situation, I am really, to your point, thrilled that you can just say, here's how we do it, and we'll do all the work. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's such a turnkey thing, it sounds like.
And we can do it in 2 to 3 weeks if we
Right.
know because we use
Yeah.
the same materials a lot of times. So we know, just order it, it'll be there. And our guys go in a team of 3 and they knock it out. And they're done before half the time we're ready to be done.
Oh, absolutely. And
So-
then they understand our timelines too. So,
Right.
they're not dragging their feet or putting, other jobs in front of, ours, which, that happens a lot in the construction industry where, a project gets going and then
They don't care.
it
They're
takes-
like, we've
yeah.
already got your deposit. You're
Exactly.
not hiring someone else. So you're
I've
stuck with
never
us.
had that happen to me, Sarah.
Never.
That contractors like started the job and then they were absent for 4 weeks. Yes, we had that happen when we first
Exactly.
started.
Yeah, that's not okay with us, especially
No.
when our money's on the line. So we're pushing for
Right.
it.
No, it's great.
So-
I love that. I love the fact that you can help people out. And like you said, most people, whether they're older or not, most people today are kind of like, it's kind of like stuntmen doing the work for an actor, right? Like if a stuntman's going to risk his life for you, why do you risk your own life? They get paid to do that. They know what they're doing. They're trained for it. Same with this. You guys are doing this every day in and day out. You're the pros. Why would I say, no, I think I can figure it out myself easier? There's no way.
That's the biggest thing. I think when people have that conversation with us, like we go into commissions and things like that, it's always like, well, would you pay a nurse to do open heart surgery on you? They might know, but they don't have the experience.
Yeah.
And because that's the biggest one. Well, why do we have to pay you so much? Well, you don't, but the what you're going to get from me isn't as good as if you did pay, and it's always worth it because you make up more money in the end.
Right. So I think the centuries old adage, if it is that old, is you get what you pay for in
Oh,
life. Right?
100%.
So
Cheers to that.
Yes.
I think we all know that, right? Anybody that's experimented too much in their life and got burned by things knows that you get what you pay for.
Yes.
So that's amazing. I love that. And I also, Sarah, I want you to talk about too, because I think your husband is a first responder. Yes. Okay. And tell us a little bit about the first responder community who in our, I would love to think here in Santa Clarita, we really do appreciate our first responders
Oh,
as much
absolutely.
as we should.
We love them.
Absolutely. I think Santa Clarita is a very strong community in supporting first responders and, as businesswomen and having family in the first responder community, that we really cater to them. We want them to live here, be in our community, be present. And so helping them buy and sell in the community is really important to us.
That's great. And so you've sort of developed, my word here, I don't know if it's correct, a pipeline maybe of first responders. And I imagine it takes time to build an awareness about any specific sort of constituency that you might want to be doing business with, but having someone in the family, like you said, is that something that takes a while to get going when you're trying to have a specific community become aware of you and start coming to you in bigger numbers?
I mean, absolutely. I think in any community, it's going to take time to build that rapport, build the trust. But a big thing in first responder, families and communities is there's that unspoken trust between the families and, being a first responder, family member is I'm going to take care of other first responders. I understand the crazy hours. I understand, them being away from home. I understand,
Not making enough money for putting their lives on the line.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But
They're not appreciated by a lot of people,
But
and we want to give them that.
Oh, 100%. And we also understand, first responders, like, a lot of their retirements and different things. We understand, like, their financial structures. So that plays a huge role in helping them find, affordability in homes out here and, not biting off more than they can chew and just making sure that they're taken care of.
No, that is great. My wife's dad was a deputy sheriff for a number of years. And so you're right. I mean, my mom was a high school math teacher, and people that don't know those professions well, whatever it is,
Tough job.
it is. And if you don't have anybody in the family or friends who are in those different professions, you don't see all the work that goes into them when you're not around, or, the things that they do and the sacrifices they make, especially fire and law enforcement and anybody in public safety.
They work way longer hours than they're paid for. Yeah, my husband did 31 plus years at Glendale Fire, and he would come home 36 hours later. I'd see him for 3 or 4. He'd take a nap and he'd go back to work.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, 100%. And that's the other thing we understand is we understand the crazy schedules, so we'll go do a listing appointment at, 9:00 at night
Right.
with, people who, they're working doubles all day. So we understand that, you're probably not going to have a regular, 9 to 5 work schedule. And so we work around that, we make sure that, things are put into place to make sure that their schedules are accommodated because it's not like the average person.
Yeah, that is amazing and great. And also, I'm sure once your reputation spreads among the first responder community, that brings you a lot more people that are anxious to work with people that respect them and understand their schedules and all the nuances of that life that they're in, and then helping them get to where they're going. Do you think sort of, life is a little more cynical nowadays, just the world around is more cynical. Do you think most people still, when I say most people, say young couples starting out or young people starting out, has the desire to own a home changed in terms of like when my wife and I got married, we were in our 20s. And of course, buying a home was a big deal and we wanted to do it. Is that still the thing with younger generations coming up at that age?
It's a mix. It's a mix. We've got all the dinks, right? The dual income, no kids. By the way, my husband and I figured out how much money we would have, like minimally, if we didn't have kids and we were just dual income, no kids. It's a little over $4 million. And that's not including all the little, things that go along with it, but 3 kids.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that crazy by the time you do
crazy.
College and weddings and it's a lot of money. But so back to that, absolutely. We are seeing the younger generation, and when I mean younger, the 30 to 40s, I would say, is where we're seeing that they're not sure. And they think that if they pay rent instead of maintaining a home, which they don't know how to maintain a home, which is the biggest problem. That's why they want only turnkey homes, and these homes are sitting because they don't know how to do the work. And they think it's a bigger deal than it really is. They don't want the headache. They want someone else to screw their light bulbs in for them. They want someone else to change their air filter. And as tenants, like we get those phone calls, like our property management company, I'm like, you don't know how to change a light bulb? Well, we just don't have time for it. And I'm like, I sent them to you via Amazon. Yeah, we weren't able to. So we're seeing that because what they're thinking is we'll invest that money we would have put into a 30-year house, right? 30-year mortgage. Well, they could end up with more down the line if they make smart investments. But see, they're like thinking crypto. They're thinking like where the market is today. And I don't necessarily think that you should put all your eggs in one basket. I think that you should own a home, even if you don't live in it, but own something.
Right.
That way, as the assets switch around, you've always got some stability. And when the real estate market goes up, sell it, buy something else, reinvest it, take your share, your non-capital gains, take that out and do something else with it, maybe invest it then. But I do think that we are seeing a lot of that. The younger generation, I would say like the 18 to 30-year-olds, I think more of them want to own homes. They're more the generation where I think we realized how we left out that 30 to 40 on how to fix a house, how to do this. We were more doing everything for them. Like, oh my God, we had rough lives as our generation, our Gen Xers. So we wanted to give them easier lives. And I think we did a disservice to them by doing that. And I think the next generation who's able to buy homes now are super interested in owning a home, that they see that being diversified because of what they're learning on the internet. Even TikTok, like people are telling you, diversifies your assets. You want assets that are backed by this. You want some backed by this. I think they're catching that. Whereas the 30 to 40s, they're already in their groove of what they're watching and paying attention to, and they're on with their life.
If I ever meet someone in their 30s who can't change a light bulb, I'm going to...
I will send you a list of all of the phone calls we get of people that are bizarre.
We should probably send you like
my gosh,
a list of like requests that we get. You would be shocked.
I'm totally texting you
would
now
be
with the
shocked.
next one I get where it's like, I have this one, and I hope he doesn't watch this, but we had purchased for the landlord. The landlord's like, I don't mind getting an ADT alarm system put in for them. They've got young kids. He's a veteran. Like, I'm happy to do that for them. Never used it, never turned it on. And then he always says, the garage door opener's not working. Did you change the battery? Oh yeah, I changed the battery. Okay, well, do you want to order a new one? We'll give you the $30. I'm like, did you use the alarm system that has it in your app? Oh, we never downloaded that. They've been there a year and a half. And I'm like, I'm canceling the alarm. It's like $70 a month.
Sure.
But they could use that, but they just don't want to figure out how to do it.
Okay. Well, this is
It's true.
a little
It's
shocking.
So true.
Okay. It's a little shocking to me.
Or the ones that move in, the tenants that move in, and they're like, yeah, the deck seems like it needs a good coat of paint. Okay, well, are you painting it? Because we're not doing that right now. Like, that's not you don't need that to live in the house. It's and these aren't slumlords. Like our landlords, most of them, 99% of them aren't slumlords. So I would say they keep the houses up very nice. But these people, they're so nitpicky, but they don't do anything.
Well, all of this reminds me that you also do property management.
We do. Yes, we do. Yeah, that's where we get those fun stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Those are where the fun stories come from is more the property management side, with the not knowing how to screw in light bulbs or...
Oh, we got a call the other day that they were fighting and they wanted to know, one of them wanted to know if the other one could keep the lease, even though that one does no income. So, and then we never heard from them again. Like, this is the stuff that takes up my days and Sarah's days, because this is one of Sarah's too.
So, okay. So wait, so right now though, you do purchases, sales
Yes.
of residential and commercial.
Yes.
You do property management.
Yes.
You have a group of go-to people that can do any kind of improvements or things like that as part of the process of,
Oh
selling a
yeah,
home.
we have an extensive vendor list.
Yep.
And then if I'm not mistaken, you also are in the mortgage lending business.
We
yes?
are. We do mortgages in California and Tennessee. We help a lot of our first responders that are retiring to Tennessee
Okay.
or getting prepared to retire. So we have both of those so we can help them. And then I'm a notary and we have a couple of people on the team. So your whole process, you truly don't have to talk to anyone else. And I think especially depending on the age range, they just want to text you anyway. So it's a lot nicer to be just that main point of contact
Okay.
where they're not texting 5 different
Sure.
people to get a deal.
Oh yeah, having everything
transpired.
under like one umbrella. So you're talking to your agent, you're talking to your loan officer, you're talking to everybody just in one place is just streamline the process. I think more than people really understand, because a lot of our time is spent trying to get people on the phone so that we can get contracts signed, we can get deadlines, are the contingencies done, and
Mortgage paperwork.
mortgage paperwork. I mean, there's so much that goes into the process, and we really have to be on our timelines and just on top of things. And so when you're spending your day just trying to get a lender on the phone, which unfortunately is,
Depends on them.
it does.
There's some good ones.
Oh, there's some great ones. But that's why we offer that just under one umbrella, because there's not a lot of bouncing around. It's all right there. Things are taken care of almost immediately.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I want to thank, I worked in real estate for 6 months back like in,
Oh man, longest 6 months of your life, huh?
it really was.
You should come work with us.
Pam Ingram.
Oh, I love Pam.
Pam was very kind and she said, well, you should come work with us. I said, okay, I'll try it out. And I was so bad. I just wasn't cut out for it. But the thing that I remember about it then, and I'm guessing it's different now because that would have been back in 2007, 2006.
Okay, before the crash.
But back then, I want to think still a lot of the transactional stuff was paper and in-person signatures. Is that different now?
Oh my
It's all-
gosh.
yeah.
So when I was in the business and I started at 16 with Teddy and Paul Murad as their cold caller, I would sit in a room with a bunch of teenagers and we would just call. That contract was 2 pages and you had carbon copy. So you would fill it out and you'd rip off 1 page for them, 1 for me, and 1 to go to the other agent where we presented the offer in person to that seller.
Right.
That was the best thing ever, was sitting down with the seller because they got to know you. They got to decide whether they trusted you, the situation, and all of that changed. And then every year they would add 2 more pages, 4 more pages, 8 more pages, 20 pages. I think we could close the deal back then with like maybe 10 pieces of paper.
Right.
Now we're probably 1,000.
Easy.
And nobody reads anything.
Of course
So
not.
they're trusting you to know the contracts. That's the biggest thing I would say as a realtor is if you know that contract, you know more than 80% of realtors because they won't read it.
Well, and this goes back though to trusting professionals, right?
Absolutely.
So, I would trust you if I'm doing a transaction with you. Of course, you're right. I'm never going to read through the 1,000 pages or even 100 pages of it. I'm going to say, these ladies know what they're doing. They're professional. They're successful. I trust them 100%. And I'm going to just go ahead and sign or DocuSign or whatever that you use nowadays.
We use DocuSign.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's
yeah.
what you need because you're literally signing your life away to buy a home. So you want to make sure that the people that you're working with understand the legal ramifications of what you're signing.
The other thing is that I definitely, and Raquel, I got this from you the last time we spoke, was how much you care about the people you're working with. So that to me is in any service that we all all of us are good in some things, but have to go to professionals for other things, right, in life. And it's always
Yeah.
good to feel like the pros that we're going to, whether it's a car repair person or somebody doing a huge transaction like a real estate thing, that those people have some level of care for us as people in
Yeah.
addition to the transaction that we're engaging in.
I think I said this before. Like, I feel like the way that I serve God is by serving people that need me in their lives because it's a difference of you getting into a lawsuit and losing money or not getting the home you want, not having enough, not making enough on a house or not making the educated decision before you get into a loan. I care. I will lose sleep over it. Not as much as I did when I was younger. I'm still going to be worried, but I can probably get 3 to 4 hours in before I pop up and go, okay, what's the problem going to be today? But I truly care about everybody. And like I said, I feel like I'm doing the best for them, that I would do the same for my family, like identical. They might not call me at midnight like my family when they want something, but I would definitely respond to them as if they were my own.
Right.
Because I think that this is just such a big decision, and if you do everything right, you could really put yourself and your family ahead in life. And I've been so blessed to grow up poor and know that I didn't want that, and not really have like a ton of people, like take you under their wing or watch out for you. I want to do that for people. I want people to be okay so that they can focus on the things that they love, like their families.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that comes through when I talk to you and just everything you and Sarah are talking about here today. The other thing is, I was going to ask you, to the point of real estate transactions being a big deal, if we go back to that for a moment, say the classic thing of buying a home, or maybe I'm a business owner and I'm going to purchase a commercial building or whatever it is. What are the things that the general public, you wish, because you guys are in it every day, you wish the general public understood better about all the things you're trying to help them with that maybe they don't understand and appreciate as much as you wish they did? What are some things that you think to yourself like, oh, you know what? Not sure what, like,
Oh my gosh,
or that you would assume that they should understand.
Caitlin and I were talking about this morning. So Caitlin's my personal assistant. She's also a realtor, and she does mortgages. And so she's been with me a little over a year, and she's
fantastic.
She's amazing. She's amazing. But we just talked about this morning, and she's like, when we're doing the loans, like people are throwing a fit about the fact they have to show their account number on their bank statement. It's just these bizarre things where they feel so offended, but yet their information is everywhere already, whether they think it is or not.
Right.
You'd have to be completely off the grid for the world to not be able to hack you. I guarantee you it's on the dark web, 100%. You could look up your name on the dark web. You will find your stuff.
Right.
So they have the hardest time with giving us the items that are needed because they just can't comprehend why we have to dig that so deep.
Yeah.
And I know 08 wasn't that comprehensive for people. You should watch that movie about the short.
Oh, yeah, the Big Short.
The Big
Yeah.
Short. If you don't understand what happened, but they blamed the industry on us as mortgage brokers. It wasn't us. It was the banks that made poor decisions because they wanted the money, and they were able to get bought off by the government. So anyway, watch that if you want to understand what's happening. The reason why you have to give us your first child's left arm is because of the Patriot Act and all of the social scores that we are going to now have on our head. They need everything to prove you are not laundering money. And that means if you see a deposit from like your dad because somebody passed away and you got an inheritance, they need to see the money from his account that came into your account, or you need to wait 2 months so it's not showing on your bank statement as something new. Those are the things I wish people understood, is you really do need to expose everything about your
Right.
internal financial situation if you're going to buy a home, unless you're paying cash.
Are there certain generations or a generation that understand that better than others?
The younger generations can get us their paperwork in 2 seconds
Oh,
via text.
immediately.
The baby boomers, and then I would say the Gen Xers, they fight you a little bit on it. And a lot of the baby boomers don't know how to get it. So we'll go over to their house. Like, that's the other thing, is they can't figure out the digital. I can't tell you how many times I drive 30 minutes to go meet with one of my baby boomer clients just to be like, let me pull up your bank statement. Okay, thank you. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh,
you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had to do that with, she was living in a hotel at the time because it was a crazy insurance situation where she just got, and yeah, she didn't know how to handle any paperwork. I mean, I would go sit for hours with her in her hotel room and do wet signatures for everything line by line, because doing a DocuSign or uploading a document was just,
It wasn't going to happen.
it wasn't going to happen, which is fine. We understand that there's people that are just not tech savvy like that, but we're going to go that extra mile. We're going to make the drive. We're going to sit down with you. We're going to explain the things to you in person. We'll go, get the documents from you in person if that's what it takes. If you can't just,
Sure.
scan it with your phone and upload it, like the younger kids can these days.
Well, then I feel pretty good about myself as a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer. I can
You're
do all
not
the
a
things.
baby boomer.
Yeah,
You've got to
yeah.
be a Gen Xer.
No, I'm not. But
Oh my gosh.
I am not.
It's the peels you're doing like mine, right?
I need peels. No, I'm not as savvy as my kids are, but I am for sure. Like, you know who's great is my mom, who's 90 years old. My mom, we gave her a smartphone a few years ago for Christmas, and she's a whiz with that thing. She, during the pandemic, she would do church on Zoom and all kinds of
Good
stuff on her
for
phone.
Your mom
her.
was the math teacher, though, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
your
right.
mom totally probably could have followed directions, and
Yeah.
she could have
'Cause
taught
she's
the class.
analytical.
She would have figured that all out for us. That's funny. My stepmom was a math teacher, and she was in Chicago at the schools there where you had to go through the metal detectors to get in. Thank you to your mother for teaching, because that is the toughest job I think there is.
It's right up there, not in the danger zone of first
I don't
responder
know.
stuff, but well, yeah, depending on the neighborhood and the school, it could be. But it is, again, one of those professions that people say, oh, it's an easy job. You get 3 months off during the summer and you work 8 to 3. And I mean, my mom would always be up until like 2 in the morning
Grading papers.
right? All
But
that
I
kind of
think
stuff,
also people forget those teachers aren't getting paid during those 3 months off.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's
That's
not
right.
like they're just sitting at home,
And
Yeah.
they spend their own money on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
I
Does.
mean, my stepmom would bring in peanut butter jelly and bread every morning to feed those kids, because she knew that those kids weren't eating.
Yeah.
Like inner city Chicago, like those kids were not eating.
Oh, absolutely. My best friend, she's a teacher up in Kernville, and it's a low income school. Bless her heart. She, in her classroom, she's always kept hygiene products so that she can, brush out kids' hair, put it in a
Right.
ponytail, give them their own thing of deodorant. She'll ask me, I've donated shoes so that the kids, if shoes don't fit or there's holes in it, that she can replace it for them. So, I mean, teachers,
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and the teachers that are in it for all the right reasons, like, it's impressive. And, my mom has a million stories of kids coming back to her later as adults and saying, I really hated it when you got on me in class, but you were right. And because of that, I'm successful in my job.
Look
Whatever.
at what I did
Yeah, all that
because
stuff.
of you.
Yeah.
I have teachers like that too, where I can remember a few names and I'm like, they made a difference in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the greatest joy you have in terms of, this is the touchy-feely part of the event now, Rod.
Okay.
What's the thing that makes both of you feel the best when it comes to just what you do every day? Because I know there's a lot of stress involved in it, right? You were talking about what's going to go wrong today. What do I need to be aware of? I think I have everything figured out. Oops, that person screwed it up by not doing what they're supposed to. But when do you have like that euphoria where, you know what, I feel super, super good about what I'm doing? Because what is that like? Is that just the closing of a transaction, or what? Tell me about that.
I think after the
Yeah.
closing, after the craziness is gone, this is just my initial feeling. I'm sure Sarah's got a little bit more too. Just when they tell you, like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even have to say anything else. Just that look that you really made something that could have not happened or was very difficult, something that we were able to do. Like, we've got
absolutely.
situations where you can't sell a home, but you really want that other home. How do you qualify? How do we figure it out? Like, we've got just different scenarios. Like, we'll lend our own money. We'll give up our commission. Like, we gave up a commission recently for like $30,000. And we're like, next, when you decide to sell someday, just pay us then. Let us sell the home then. That's when I feel good. When I feel
Absolutely.
like I'm not taking food off of my table, but yet I can still help somebody get ahead in life or do what they need to do for their family just because of different circumstances. That's when I feel good. That's when I'm like, okay, I can get up and do this again tomorrow.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
What you just said about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I would totally agree with Raquel on that. I think it's when you get through the crazy and, emotions are high during these transactions and, you think they're going to fall apart and, we're able to pick up the pieces. We're able to keep going. We're able to get through those difficult transactions that, maybe a majority of, the agents or the lenders out there might have just been like, listen, there's nothing we can do. And we've done it. And like she said, we just had one where we gave up our commission on a buying end so that they had enough to qualify while their other home, we rented it out. And we were just able to make it happen. And the gratitude from them and just them telling us how life-changing it was for them to be able to get into this home and how much it changed the dynamics for their family. I know a lot of people like to say that, business is business and personal is personal. I'm the complete opposite. I think business is personal and you really have to take care of your clients, like she said, as family. And that's when it's the most rewarding because it is a personal transaction through and through. And as agents, as people, we need to treat it as such and it's not just transactional.
Is it harder to have that attitude nowadays than it was 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago? Like, do you think like just the the proliferation of technology and how it makes everybody's expectations more demanding nowadays with everything in our lives, right? Everybody wants everything right away because we think for the most part we can do it right away. Has that made the things that you're talking about, this treating people with respect and dignity and giving up money of your own to help them through a situation, do you feel that's becoming harder to maintain that kind of quality? And I know it's not for you because that's how you operate your business, but in the world out there
Oh,
in
yeah.
general, is
Yeah.
that a tougher thing for
I
people?
don't think people, one, understand truly the whole entire box of real estate and how overly complicated it can be, but also how you could, where most people only see you can line these up, like we can line up so many other things, and that makes that part of it easy. The hard part, I think, for just a regular agent, somebody that averages, I think last year the average was only like one deal a year though. Somebody that averages probably 5 to 8 deals a year, I don't think they can afford to help.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And they're already at a disadvantage because let's say they write an offer, you've got to ask for your commission now. Most of them will just take whatever's offered to them. They won't stand up for what they should
They're
get.
worth.
Like they're 2.5 or 3%, they'll take 2 or 1.5. I won't do that, but that also gives me the ability to help the client because I've negotiated to have a little bit of room in there if
Right.
something comes up. No skin off my back. I feel good. They feel good. It was a win-win. They'll sell or buy in 10 years, whatever. Like they'll come back to me. That's where I feel like it works out.
So when I was working with Pam, if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, at that time, I want to think that it was 3% on each side of the equation, right? 3%.
Yep. Was the standard. Yeah.
Right. So now that is no longer a given, that everybody goes in, like when I say everybody, the people that are asking you to help them with the transaction. If I'm the customer, I don't go into that anymore saying, okay, I'm going to owe you 3% no matter what. They
You
want to
negotiate it.
Okay.
Every single one is a negotiation.
Okay.
So if we have a listing and an agent writes an offer, let's say we get 2 offers, you'll actually can tell demographically where the agent's from, what they'll probably take because it's customary for their neighborhood
Okay.
versus somebody coming from like the city or Santa Clarita, like your agents here, you expect to get 3%. Like you might settle for 2.5 on the buy side
Okay.
because you have to negotiate it directly with the seller.
And how much now does people's ability to get their homeowners insurance factor into getting deals completed and put together and done across the finish line? Is
Do
that
you want
really?
to take that one?
I'm sure we both have, our opinions on that. Yeah, it's definitely made things a little bit more difficult. It's outrageous what
Everybody's being ripped off.
everyone's being ripped off. The monopoly that's on it. It's insane. So it definitely does because I think a lot of, buyers, they're not savvy, into all the little nuances. And so
They don't know to check for that
they
insurance
don't know to
before
check.
they go
So
to the house.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of buyers make is they go, I want to spend $800,000. Okay, well, where did you get that number from? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I understand what the number is, and that's in your head where you want to be, but where did you get that number?
Right.
You need to factor so many things in. How much are you putting down? Have you started researching, insurances? Are there HOAs? Are there Mellorues? Are there all these things that are tied in that just an $800,000 purchase price isn't going, it's not the whole picture.
Right.
So
Insurance is hard though too. I don't know if you've heard this, but when I was talking to the LA County Fire Marshal, they were changing us, and I think it already switched. I think it was July 1st. We only had 100,000 homes in the high fire. They added 150,000 as of July 1st, right? So we're at 250,000.
Yeah.
So yes, so everybody buying a home, like we have to be proactive and be like, call and get a quote for that house because we're looking in that neighborhood. You'll know if you're high fire, you have to go Cal,
Right.
with the state program or not. But also, are you in a flood zone like Placerita Canyon or Valverde? And then are you going to get earthquake insurance? Not that you have to qualify for that, but all of those things are going to factor into your payment.
Right.
That's making it hard because a lot of people just won't even write policies here at all.
Right.
So it's definitely make us jump through hoops. Whereas that's a contingency though too. Like that's a whole different ball game. But you have your 3 contingencies as a buyer, which kind of puts you in the driver's seat. You can do kind of what you want until you give those final contingencies. But insurance is part of your inspection contingency, and they usually only give you 10 days. So you have 10 days to be sure you're comfortable with that insurance, and can you qualify? Because that has to go into your payment. So we just sold a home where we live, which is Hidden Valley. The guy had to sell because his insurance went from $5,000 a year to $20,000 a year because of the high fire zone.
Yeah. It's, I really feel for people because, well, especially in the purchasing process, because you're right, you have to factor in all these additional monthly costs, and it could be another $3,000 a month, right? With Melrose, HOA, fire insurance, earthquake, all of that. That has nothing to do with just the actual mortgage payment for the house. And so you're right. And then is lending a tougher game now because of all that, or the standards? Like when you look at people, are there people now, Raquel, that maybe 10 years ago you'd say, no problem, even with all those things, we could have got you qualified, but now it's really a challenge to get that same thing done?
I feel like the banks right now, they're just like over scrutinizing, like even more than it was 10 years ago. And we thought it was tough 10 years ago because now we have that Patriot Act and we had to show no laundering at all. And, job and school and, like I said, your first kid's left arm. But I think now it's even more difficult to get all of those things lined up because you have to have that up front. Every time you turn in something for them to review, it could be 48 hours. That takes up the process, and they want you to sign off in your contingencies in 10 days. You got to be on the ball.
Yeah.
So if you're looking in an area, shop for insurance right away.
Right.
Just get your insurance broker on the phone and say, hey, not necessarily this house, but this is the neighborhood. We think this is our price point. Give me an estimate. That way, then you know for sure. We know we have a pretty good idea based on the neighborhood, so we can tell them, but I don't know how much it's changing from day to day either.
Right. We did so I'm on the board of directors for a group here in town called VIA, the Valley Industry Association. And we did we do these periodic monthly lunches and bring in topics on the business community. Anyway, about 4 months ago, we did one on the insurance crisis in California. And we had several insurance people participating. Senator Suzette Valadares was there also talking about it from the state level. But one of the guys gave the best advice, I thought. He said, when it comes to commercial real estate, the mistake some people make is they purchase the building. He said, and then when they go in there, the electrical panel is not up to current standards to where now the insurance on that building is going to be so astronomical.
Yep.
He made a great point. He said, to what you just said, call me first. Let's look at what the panel is. Let's look at the specifics of the building. And now you know going in what it's going to be or if you actually want to buy it or not.
Exactly. Yeah, because that inspection is going to have a lot to do with it. I mean, I was out in the AV showing horse property Monday, and you can see where they're dropping in the sprinklers, like to those old, 50s roofs because they can't get insured without. Right. So what's that expense going to be? Are you going to have to put that in before closing? Do you have to have it in within a certain timeline? That's definitely going to make a difference in that too. So depending on the area, we would know like you're going to have this or you're going to have this. Check with them when was it built. If it wasn't built, from 2020 on, you're probably going to have some issues.
Yeah. And I know, when you're a homeowner, like our policy was canceled. We had Allstate from the day we moved into our house 30 plus years. And then this year, like in September, whatever it was, they sent us things saying, sorry, we're not renewing your policy. So that stings, obviously, when you feel like you haven't done anything wrong. We've had 2 claims maybe the whole time we've lived there. And so now, again, our homeowners insurance now is 3 times more than what we were paying before that.
Yeah, it's a ripoff. I do think what we're going to see, though, and you probably know more than I do, I think we're going to have some newer companies come in and write policies here, which should hopefully slowly get those prices more competitively. I don't know why our state insurance is so high. That seems ridiculous when 80% of what we're paying is just money off the top. Because if you do average it out, I think it says it's 20% of what people pay is actually to get paid out in those. Okay. And the rest of it is money going to the CEOs and to the state, the government level. Right. Yeah. It's just so sad because it's legal crime.
It's a good way to put it. Okay. Sort of to end this a little bit, I'm going to ask you this, and thank you for your patience. I really appreciate both of you. I know you're super busy and you're giving me so much time. I love it. When I was working with Pam, I went to a seminar one time, and one of the things that this guy that was the main presenter, and at the time he was somebody famous in the real estate world that they had as a keynote speaker. And so, I'm going to ask you if this happens to both of you in the business. He said, And first of all, before I do that, if you like what we're talking about here, and you should, because these ladies are amazing, make sure you hit the subscribe button for this channel and also hit the like button, give it a thumbs up. He was talking about how one of the things, and he asked people in the audience to raise their hand if it had ever happened to them. He said, how many of you know somebody that you've known for 20 or 30 years and you see them fairly regular, and you see them one time and they say, hey, I just bought a new house, and they didn't use you for right. Is that a common thing that happens, whether it's selling a home, buying a home? Is that kind of, and like 3/4 of the audience raised their hand as if that was kind of a thing that happens to them. I'm guessing you have to be constantly reminding people, even people in your life that know you, and you know that they know you and what you do. Is that a thing, or is he kind of over-exaggerating?
No, that's a thing. Like, you should be the mayor of your town. You should stick your hand out, meet everybody. I talk to everybody, not because
she
feel
makes
like
friends in Home Depot.
I mean, even in the grocery store, like I meet everybody, talk to everybody, Pilates, you name it. Like, and I don't even start with that. I think I see them a few times, and then we'll get into something. And then after we've talked a couple of times, they're like, oh, real estate, let's talk. We've had people, I haven't had anybody lately, but like, especially my agents, as they come on and they're newer and they get that where like maybe a really good friend didn't hire them.
Right.
And that is just a knife in the heart for sure. It's painful because you look at it like, well, what is it about me that they don't want? Sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes it's about their situation. Maybe they're going through something, like relationship wise, or maybe they're having monetary issues that they don't want someone like that close to them to be exposed to. And I always remind people that, like, you just don't know what's really the underlying issue. But then we've also had people sell their home with, like, we're probably top 5% in this area, and like maybe a 1%er sold a home and they did not get as much money as they should have, like maybe lost 35, 40 grand just because it was just like, you're a number, you don't matter.
Right.
They called us when they bought the home. They're like, we want to work with you to buy. Like, they definitely learned their lesson and realized, like, sometimes if there's that back and forth between husband and wife,
Right.
that maybe the wife should win. I do have men that will rather hire me than the women, but most of the time it's women that we have relationships with. And the men, they just need to talk to us a little bit, and then there's no problem. But we don't get that introduction sometimes right away,
That's a great point you made, though. I never thought of that in terms of there may be things going on, and if it's a friend or someone you're close to, that's a great point you made.
Absolutely, yeah. There's personal stuff that's going on that maybe, we're too close to it, and maybe they're a little embarrassed, or they just don't want it out there. They don't want their our maybe friend group to kind of catch wind. And so I think definitely when I first got into the business, things hurt a little bit more, but then you just kind of got to get thick skin and just
it's not about us.
It's not about us, and we're not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
Yeah, and if we're not for you, I at least ask me who you should work with out here, interview with, because we know the good agents. We do business with them all the time.
Right. Absolutely.
So if we're not the right fit, we know who would be a good fit for you. No skin off our back. There's plenty of business here.
Right. No, I love that. I love your attitude, which is why you guys are successful, I think, because you clearly are secure in the amount of business you do and the people you serve. And it's not like you're saying we have to have every single client that ever walks past our door, right? So that's a great place to be, that you are able to, like you just said, if we're not your cup of tea, let us please refer you to some people that we trust, that you can trust.
Yeah, because, there just might be something about maybe a different agent that's just going to mesh with you a little bit better, and that's okay.
Or maybe you don't know them at all and they know nothing about you, and that's the way you want to keep it.
Right.
But I will say this about that. We don't discuss our clients with anybody.
No.
So just to give you an idea, I've sold multiple homes that my kids are friends with the families, like hang out at their house. And until that sign was up, or until they were like packing, my kids had no idea I had any involvement. It's not something that I talk about at home. And I do have a son who's licensed. So maybe if it's one of his friends, I might be like, hey, did you talk to so-and-so? Oh yeah, by the way, he said I'm going to help him sell the house. So then I'm like, okay, they just called me because they need that initial, but then really it's my kid that they're going to hire because it's their age.
Yeah.
Well, and same too, like for me with, first responder community, especially, the sheriffs and stuff, a lot of people like their business to stay their business.
Yeah.
So I don't discuss, who I'm working with anybody else. because a lot of times they don't, we don't want anybody to know we're moving out of the city, or we're doing this or we're doing that. So, it's not my business to discuss.
I love that. I think having discretion and
Absolutely
is a great quality that a lot of people nowadays don't have, because people. So that's going to bring me to my last two. I said the other thing was my last question. Here's two more quick questions.
Let's go.
How important is it to business these days? Social media. How much does that help or hurt?
So that's why I need somebody that will just make me film like 2 days a week. I do think that I could double my business if I just filmed some shorts and gave information. Because when I do, and I think I have like 3,500 friends, I don't even try on Facebook. I really do think that I could provide a lot of really useful information to people in any state, and that would change dramatically for my team, because that would be extra business for them. I just am not techie, and sitting down and then trying to find someone to edit, like sit with me for a little bit and be like, I love this, but we need to add this to it. And that's where I'm missing the boat.
Sarah, what about you?
No, I would totally agree with her. I've not been a huge social media person in the past, but I'm definitely putting myself out there more. And it's just the way that the industry is evolving, as if you're not out there, your face isn't out there, you're not constantly putting content and talking about what's going on in the market, people are going to find somebody else who is.
So do you know, she's here in the building as well. Do you know Selena Thomas, she's down on the first floor. She's an HR professional. Okay. Selena is the chairwoman of the board for VIA, which she and I are on the board together. She does what I would say a 30 or 45 second Facebook thing every single day. She started doing it as a lark, and then she just got in the habit of doing it. I'm thinking if you did something that brief, 30 seconds, doesn't require any editing, but you just post it out there every day, and her Facebook things get so much attention, and she's talking about her business and things like that, but it's a real brief little snippet.
Right.
Yeah.
And she does it every day, to the point where she said one time she missed a day and people thought she had, died.
I overthink it. I definitely overthink it. I don't post a lot of personal stuff either.
I don't either.
I think that was being married to a first responder.
Yep.
And it was like, if you went on vacation, you didn't post it till the following week. Well, we come home and then I forget to post because I didn't do it while I was in the thick of it.
I think that's my problem too with social media. Again, being married to a first responder.
Local first responder.
Definitely. It took me a little while to come out of my comfort zone and just kind of putting more stuff out there.
I tell all the agents, if you guys just did a video once a week, you would get a deal just from that once a week. Just put it out once a week. And yet nobody can seem to.
I don't post anything personal because I have a very boring and predictable life. So I like that, by the way. That's an asset.
But your life coaching.
That's a blessed life.
You don't post that? You don't post the life coaching at all?
Never.
Why?
I don't
Just
know.
word of mouth only?
Yeah, and I don't know that
It's such an important job, though. Like, I know everybody needs one today.
I've got the imposter syndrome thing going on a little bit. But
Everybody has
think
that,
we
though.
all-
I wake
yeah.
up, like, my team will always tell me, like, you're the bomb, you're this. And I'm like, I am a human, just like you guys. Like, I see it no different. But I think
she
when you're
is.
humble like that you have a lot to offer.
Well, it's very kind of you to say that. And speaking of coaches, going back to when I worked with Pam, there were these famous family of coaches in real estate that people would hire, like the fairy.
The fairies, yeah.
And I asked Pam, I said, well, what do they do? She says, well, they call you up once a week and say, are you prospecting? Are you farming? Are you doing all the things you're supposed to be doing? Right.
Hold you accountable.
Yeah. And I was like, wouldn't people be doing that anyway if they're in the business? And she said, no. And,
No.
These guys were like, are they still around? Is there real estate coaches?
They
still?
are. And in fact, they're both still around. Mike and one of his sons, Tom, I think are still both coaching. If I could coach, I would coach, just because I prefer to just help people along in whatever their struggle is that day. But I know what you're saying. I think the same thing about myself. And then I remember how many thousands of people we've helped. And obviously there's something good to it. But everybody needs a coach. Everybody. I don't care what you do.
Everybody needs help and support.
Think about the professional, like, athletes. They all have more than one coach. They have, their head coach, their defense coach, their
Strength
offense coach, their this
right.
coach. Then they have all of those other people, probably personal trainer, cook, nutritionist, all of that. You need that in your life, I think, today.
Well, and a lot of professional athletes too, they do, they have therapy. They work with psychologists.
Oh, yeah. Sports psychology.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it goes back a little bit to what you said earlier about people. I don't think there's anybody in Santa Clarita that I know is going to hire me as a life coach, because I know a lot of people in town. I'm lucky to have so many friends in town. And I think people sometimes they want to talk to a stranger about things. This is so far, I've been doing this for 3 years, right? And the people I work with are assigned to me through a therapy practice.
Oh, okay.
So I think the most valuable thing they get out of it is having a stranger who's not a part of their family, not in their friends group, and they can say out loud things to me that they're not going to be judged for. It's a safe space. And I think people
Their wife's not going to find out.
Yep.
right,
Yeah.
whatever it is, or if they say something that they just don't feel comfortable sharing with family and friends, that to me is the value of like a coach type of person in this situation I'm
It's
working
the safe
in.
space.
Yeah,
It's
safe space. So I don't know that people, back to your thing about maybe they didn't go with somebody they knew because they weren't comfortable. I feel like that would be the thing for me in Santa Clarita. Nobody's going to hire me in Santa Clarita because I know a lot of people in Santa Clarita. I'm not saying that bragging. It's just that nobody I know. So I would almost have to go beyond the boundaries of Santa Clarita and find people outside.
Yeah.
From like, I get what you're saying. Like anywhere in the valleys or the kids as the young entrepreneurs and people that are finishing college, like they need that because so many of these kids aren't being taught in high school or college what life is really like. I think that would be huge because you don't know the kids like you know your friends, but they would be the ones who really need that guidance and that help. I feel like we can solve that on the real estate side.
Yeah.
And we get calls 5 years, 10 years after somebody bought to tell them like how they should step up their next thing, pull money out, buy more properties, what have you. But I just think everybody needs somebody that they feel like they can call for
Well-
situations that come up daily.
The guy that can't change a light bulb definitely needs a coach.
Seriously, we could do a show on just that. I mean, the tenants since COVID have definitely, minds have been altered based on what they were capable of and what they're not, because the expectation changed. And the government was like, we'll do it all for you. We'll do
Yeah.
everything. And I think that people are still riding on that.
Yeah, because the tenants became the ones in control.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think, and then I won't even get us into AI this time. We'll talk about AI next time around. But the more technology that infuses into your life, and even with cars now, right? There's cars that
Drive themselves.
drive themselves, and I'm thinking, how lazy do you
My
have to
car
be to
does
not want
that,
to drive
and
your
I
own
don't
car?
use it.
I never use it.
I've never used it.
Well, like the Ubers that'll pick you up that are driverless.
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready
I-
for any of
But
that. No.
also, I will say this to that is that remember when they came out with ATM cards and you could put your money in or your checks into that? I didn't trust that. It took me a couple of years. And now, like with things like crypto and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, pay attention. What am I going to miss out on? Where should I be putting some money? I have to pay more attention on what's happening up to date. And I think that not everybody is doing that. They're just kind of going along because life's hard enough. They don't want to have to think outside of like what's
Figure
has
out
to
other
happen today.
avenues.
Yeah, they just don't want to.
I think you're right. I think in the pandemic maybe made us even more so, right? Because, you know, when I worked at the event production company, every meeting I ever had was in person somewhere in the community, meeting with a group to plan their event. Now, every single one of those meetings would take place on Zoom.
And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not bonding over that. Like I know my family would tell you I'm nuts on the health stuff and like everything that's going on, like the frequencies, the 5G, like all of the crazy stuff when you get into the AI part of it. But it's work. It's work to figure out what we should be doing because we know if we're going down that path of someone else telling us what to do, in the end, the benefit's not as good as if you took the time to hire a professional to do these things, right? Or learned it for yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing that's happening right now that is making our job harder
Right.
is that expectation that, well, someone else is going to adult for me. So
Right.
I know that was a long circle
No,
back to your
I-
question, but
No, I love it. I love that term, adult, for me. That's good.
and that's my kids. My kids are like, they're like ready to go out and adult. And I'm like, what is your hurry? Like, seriously, you're going to be adulting the rest of your life and you're going to adult for everybody else. So
That's funny.
take your time,
Yeah, because it's exhausting.
enjoy it. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I cannot thank both of you enough. Raquel, Sarah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thank
you'll
you.
come back another time, maybe.
Thank you for, we'll come back
Yeah.
anytime.
Okay,
I
good.
love to talk.
Good. And I think we kind of got the thing. Sarah's in the shot there, so that's good.
Sarah-
Yeah, I'm just
there.
hiding in the
Okay.
corner a little bit.
We were hiding me because I did a very vain chemical peel and I didn't know it was going to be this bad. So
It looks great.
you can't even cover it up.
It looks really
Like
good.
I tried with makeup and I was like, nope, I look like leather. So this is what you guys get this time.
Well, thank you both very much for coming
Thank you,
on. We
Ed. No,
thank
appreciate
you.
it. And thank all of you for tuning in to watch
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and make sure you call these ladies up if you need help with that. The real estate mamas, they'll be able to help you out and point you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
And thanks to all of you. And like I said, if you liked it, subscribe to the channel and also hit the thumbs up, the like button for the episode. And we will see you on the next time. Ready for the music? Here it comes.
We're ready.